In America, everyone counts, and the 2020 census is how that great promise is kept. Respond today online, by phone, or by mail, and help inform hundreds of billions in funding for education, health programs, and more. Shape your future. Start at 2020census.gov. The folks at 538 broke down the polling data, and it talked about 18 to 29-year-old black voters and 60 plus. And it said here that trust congressional Republicans to do what is best for black people. Among blacks polled 18 to 29, 29% say they trust Republicans to do what's best for black people. 8% of 60-year-old or older black people, just 8%. Overall, the number was 21%. GOP is welcoming to black Americans. 18 to 29-year-old people, 28%. 60 plus, just 7%. Overall, 22%. Why am I reading that? Because I was just talking about Hans Van Spassky. This is a story from The Intercept on February 27th, 2019. Headline: Conservative expert privately warned GOP donors that a voting rights bill would help Democrats. In this, the bill was called the For the People Act. It would revamp lobbyist registration, campaign financing, and voting rights. The Brennan Center says, according to this lead, it will create a more responsive and representative government by making it easier for voters to cast a ballot and harder for lawmakers to gerrymander. Now, Heritage opposes the bill. They call it clearly unconstitutional. He also complained it comes at the expense of federalism. But here's what it says, Reese. Just 2 weeks later, however, as Spakovsky addressed a private gathering of conservatives, he was considering more candid about his reason for opposing the bill. It would be bad for Republicans. Why did he come to that conclusion? Is right here. One measure in the bill that Von Spakovsky singled out would guarantee people with felonies voting rights when they leave prison. The result would be an electoral advantage for Democrats, Von Spakovsky said, citing a study that found that a number of close congressional elections in recent history would have tipped toward Democrats had the law been in place. Then this is what he said, quote, "The key race that stuck out to me, is that Mitch McConnell would have lost his first race for the U.S. Senate, which was a very close election. He won by 5,000 votes in 1984. So, Reese, when I see these black people say that Republicans will be good for black people and 28, 29%, I don't care if you're a black conservative. I don't care if you're a black Republican. But here's my whole piece. You can be a black conservative or black Republican, but don't use power to deny people the right to vote. And if those who are formerly incarcerated are more likely to want to get the right to vote, looking at our numbers, they're likely going to be black. So the very black people in the 18 to 29 category who has feelings for the GOP, those same people are trying to screw you, black people. This is one of their experts saying it to GOP donors.
These numbers are just disgusting and disappointing, but I can't even say that I'm all that shocked, to be frank, because of the fact that there is a massive disinformation, misinformation campaign that's aimed towards that particular demographic. And another thing I think that Republicans have been very successful at is they understand this is not a matter of conversion. when it comes to Black voters, and in particular young Black voters. But if they can successfully convince enough people that there is no difference between Republicans and Democrats, then some of the goodwill that comes from the things that the Democrats actually put forth, like for instance, the fact that people are getting got $1,200 in the CARES Act, that was something that the Democrats really pushed for in terms of that amount, or $600 a month unemployment and things of that nature, then they get some of the goodwill from those things, but they don't take the blame for the white nationalist agenda that they are putting forth, and they're getting even more blatant about it. So it's disappointing, but it's deliberate, and a lot of people are so woke that they're asleep, okay? A lot of people are so woke that they're ingesting all of this propaganda, this anti-democratic propaganda, and they just, it just defies logic, it defies facts, and it defies reality. And so this is why I constantly talk about the disinformation and misinformation campaigns as part of the voter suppression campaign against Black voters. It's not just what they're doing at the ballot box. It's not just what they're doing in terms of purging and in terms of the laws. It's what they do in terms of manipulation and convincing Black voters that there is no difference between the white nationalist party and the Democratic Party, which does have its issues. I'm not saying that the Democratic Party is perfect, but they are miles apart in terms of what they propose. 400 bills that have passed the House that are collecting dust on Mitch McConnell's desk shows the complete difference between a Democratic ran country and a Republican Trump white nationalist ran country. But people are just not paying attention, and where they're getting their information from, which is all curated by Twitter algorithms and social media algorithms, are telling them a story that's not accurate.
And this is why right here, when I look at these folks here, Erica, and I got to call people out, like I got some dumbass on my YouTube channel. He goes, well, Joe Biden's 1994 crime bill information is true. Okay, so here's the question. What have Democrats done? So this is just real simple, okay? So for all the people out there who focus on the 94 crime bill, and Joe Biden should be criticized as the author of that crime bill. But here's what I want to know. What the hell has happened since?
Right.
That's what I want to know. I want to know what the hell has happened since. 1994 is 2020. What I want to know, what has Joe Biden and Democrats done between 1994 and 2020? Because the story I just read for you was from 2019. The A. Philip Randolph story I just read for y'all from ProPublica was yesterday. So while a bunch of y'all, and I'm going to say it, want to remain stuck on stupid and talking about, well, Joe Biden, he praised Eastland in 75. Wrong as hell. I'm going to call him out. But y'all do realize that there are Senator Eastlands in 2020.
That part. Hello.
Y'all do realize.
In the White House, Stephen Miller.
Y'all do realize.
Right.
And again, this is for all y'all just stuck on stupid folk who listen to ignorant people who call women bed wenches, who are telling you fools not to vote, and they all hollering tangibles, and what we gonna get, let me remind you, there are Eastlands today. Eastland was a Dixiecrat. The Eastlands today are Republicans.
That's right.
Erica, the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, hardcore Republican, made changes to early voting because of COVID. Republicans in Texas are are suing him. They ain't just suing Democrats. They are suing a fellow hardcore Republican because they deal is, oh, hell no, we do not want them voting by mail. We don't want them having any extra early voting days because, and I'm going to say it before I go to you, Erica, and then when I go to a break and come back and talk to Philando Castile's mama. For all you simpleton SOBs, for all of you simple Simons, for all of you folk who are stuck on stupid, and I know Cleo Monaga was here, he was a Roland, don't call them names, but if your dumb ass is advocating not voting, that's exactly what they want you to do. Because Erica, Donald Trump stood before the microphones and said, thank you, black people, for not voting. Y'all helped me. Go ahead.
With his damn foot on everybody's neck. Listen, in 2020, the son of a Klansman, I've been saying that for over 2 years, not because it's a cool comedic punch, because it's the damn truth. And what the Klan has done and continues to do and have a past of doing is anti-blackness, hatred, and always marginalizing people of color. When we think about where we are right now, when we think about this Bond man who runs the election law reform initiative over in the Heritage Foundation and keeps up with the database that's supposed to be monitoring supposed voter fraud since 1992, there were less than 1,300 cases. And guess what? Of those 1,300 cases, you have people, particularly back in 2018, Republican operatives that in 2018 in North Carolina are actually in jail now because they actually participated in voter fraud for the 9th Congressional District there in North Carolina. You have a Donald Trump in 2020 that said in North Carolina in September to make sure that you not only vote by mail, but make sure you follow up at that vote and you vote at the poll on election day. This is the person that has their damn foot on your neck. If the vote were not powerful, you would not have Republicans meeting in secret. You would not have the son of a Klansman in the White House telling everybody on national TV at 6 o'clock in the damn evening that he'll think about conceding the election. He's already saying that mail-in ballots, which we know that because we're in a pandemic, and you just mentioned, in Texas, I think there were over 50,000 new cases of COVID in the past 14 days in the state of Texas alone. So you have a governor there, you have a fight that's happening there. You're talking about people being able to vote safely, and here this foolish, evil clown is saying on television that, there's not really anything to be trusted around mail-in ballots. This is the present threat. This is not only a domestic terrorist, but this is a person who has allowed foreign entities into this country and sitting in the White House and to interfere with the disinformation campaign that Reese continues to talk about so that the vote will be suppressed. This is the person that we have to get out, him as his regime in November. There's really nothing to talk about other than that for the next 39 days. And if anybody is sitting out the election, they're actually saying that their life is of no value either.
And I'm real clear. I don't need you to love Democrats. I don't need you to love Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I don't need you to like them. But I damn sure need you to know who hates you. Let me repeat that for somebody who didn't quite get it. I don't need you to love Democrats. I don't need you to love or like Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. But I do need you to know who hates you and who wants to take away health care, who wants to take away the Affordable Care Act, who wants to cut Social Security, who's already done away with police consent decrees. I want you to understand who is actually attacking us, who is actually using opportunity zones to gentrify our neighborhoods and got you thinking they investing in our neighborhoods but then your mama and your grandmother and your aunt and your cousins can no longer afford to live in the very same neighborhoods. But if some of y'all want to sit here and I ain't voting, I don't care, if they all the same, okay, go right ahead. But you know what? Shut the hell up, because I don't want to hear nothing out of your mouth over the next 4 years. Because if you don't do nothing when it comes to the school board, don't say a damn thing about education. If you don't say nothing about the city council and you don't vote, don't say nothing about city services. If you want to complain about the county government but you don't vote, shut the hell up. If you want to complain about what your state should or should be doing but you didn't vote, shut the hell up. Because you can't complain about something where you had no impact in changing when you had the opportunity to do so. All right, folks, back to our Roland Unfiltered video in just 1 minute. As our community comes together to support the fight against racial injustice, I want to take a second to talk about one thing we can do to ensure our voices are heard. Not tomorrow, but now. Have your voices heard in terms of what kind of future we want by taking the 2020 census today at 2020census.gov? Now, folks, let me help you out. The census is a count of everyone living in the country. It happens once every 10 years. It is mandated by the U.S. Constitution. The thing that's important is that the census informs funding, billions of dollars, how they are spent in our communities every single year. I grew up in Clinton Park in Houston, Texas, and we wanted new parks and roads and a senior citizen center. Well, the census helps inform all of that and where funding goes. It also determines how many seats your state will get in the U.S. House of Representatives. Young black men and young children of color are historically undercounted, which means a potential loss of funding for services that helps our community. Folks, we have the power to change that. We have the power to help determine where hundreds of billions in federal funding go each year for the next 10 years. Funding that can impact our community, our neighborhoods, and our families and friends. Folks, responses are 100% confidential and can't be shared with your landlord, law enforcement, or any government agency. So please take the 2020 census today. Shape your future. Start at 2020census.gov.